What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel, the best place for hardworking millennials to learn more about career soft skills. Now, with this economy right now, a lot of people are considering changing their careers. But this whole process is definitely anxiety inducing. So in this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips on how to overcome the anxiety of having a career change. Now, when we talk about anxiety, it comes from the emotional parts of your brain, and that's really in the amygdala, right? And when we see something that we don't know what's going to happen, it's fear-inducing. What happens as a result is we kick in our fight or flight syndrome. And in this fight or flight syndrome, the third alternative that people rarely talk about is freeze. That's kind of the deer in the headlights when your car is driving and the deer looks at you and it's about to get hit but doesn't really know what to do. That's basically the freeze. And so anxiety oftentimes is coming from this freeze part. Now, overcoming anxiety has 2 basic approaches. The first approach is the leap before you look, right? The whole Nike just do it, right? And when you do it, what happens is you realize, hey, I took that risk and it didn't hurt me, it didn't kill me, I can do it again. And you gain confidence and you keep doing it as a result. But the drawback of that is that what if you do get hurt? The second approach, which is my preferred approach, is using knowledge to conquer fear. And this is what this channel really is about, teaching people fundamental knowledge behind the sciences on how to build soft skills to overcome challenges. And I'm a big believer of using our neocortex, which is the logical parts of our brain. The biggest part of our brain is the part that separates us from primates. We use that part to conquer the fear and know that it's going to be okay after I do my due diligence in understanding the problem. It's like back in the day when people came up with dragons or fairy tale monsters or whatever. It's because at that time people didn't really know what a monster is, and monsters of the olden days would be something like a bear or a snake, right? Nowadays, those animals are in a zoo because we understand them, we've conquered them, and pretty much we've mastered them as a race. So in this video, I'm going to teach you 6 tips to overcome this anxiety, and these are all knowledge-based that can help you overcome this fear and make the decision that, hey, it's not that bad, I can do it. Now, if it's your first time at my channel, please make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can receive updates on future videos that talk about similar topics on building career soft skills. I also have a Facebook group called Career Soft Skills where you can chat with like-minded people who are interested in maximizing their potential. So without further ado, here are 6 tips in helping you overcome anxiety while going through a career change. Tip number 1. Career change is now the new normal. And when I say that, I'm basing this on statistics. In 2018, a study came out in the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics that estimates that the average person will have about 12 to 15 careers in their lifetime. We're talking about careers, not jobs, careers. And each career would typically have about 2 to 3 jobs. And so easily, in a person's lifetime in the future, you can expect around 20 to 30 jobs that they would do throughout their lifetime. And so in the future, working is no longer about having, one career from your teens until the rest of your life. That's gone already. That boat has sailed. In the future, a person will have a portfolio of jobs. Furthermore, there's going to be more disruption coming from AI, robotics, and globalization. So in previous videos, I've talked about how AI and robotics are basically going to replace the manual labor both physically and intellectually. So the best jobs to have in the future would be those that involve creative work. Basically, if you are in your 30s and we're basing the numbers of having 20 to 30 jobs throughout one's lifetime, half of the jobs that you're going to do in the future have not even been created yet. Therefore, most of us have to wrap our head around the fact that change is the new norm, and there's nothing wrong with changing. There's no problem with it. In fact, it's a great thing because you're adding more skills to your skill set. Which brings me to tip number 2, which is changing jobs is a sign of strength. You need to think about it this way. Change equals growth, which equals learning. And what that means is when you're going through a career change, which is now the norm, you are signaling to employers that you are flexible, you are adaptive, you are a quick learner, you are resilient, and you're a problem solver. And essentially, by doing that and also highlighting that in your career change portfolio, you are signaling you are a good addition to the existing team. And what we need to realize is that people, when they hire, they don't hire them based on their existing skill sets. They hire them, number one, based on personality, number two, based on the need and the fit, and number three, it is experience. So in that order, what that means is that your personality really matters, and then skills can be learned, and experiences, if they're relevant, that's a bonus, but if not, it's really not that big of a deal. So it really comes down to whether you want to enjoy the ride or not, or if you want to moan and groan about the whole process of the inevitable career change that you're going to have. Tip number 3 is to emphasize the skills and ignore the titles. And when I say that, what I mean is that a successful career is all about the skills that you acquire along the way that can be applied to different settings. Because at different settings, one of the main things that you're going to do is problem solve. People are paying you to solve problems, right? And so an important aspect of doing a career change is looking at the different skills that you consistently tap into during each of these career stops that you have, and just really emphasize that, because that's really where your zone of genius is. That's really where you get your sense of flow, right? What are the common threads that keep showing up across the different jobs that you do? What are the things that you really enjoy across each jobs? Once you're able to identify that, the career change is no longer that scary because, well, you've done this here, you found success there. What's not to say that you're not going to find success in your third place, right? And so highlighting the skills rather than the titles is really important to a career change. Now, in Goins' Art of Work, he argues that a person should consider their career like an artist's portfolio. They can stand on its own or it can stand as a whole. For example, if you look at Picasso's, one of his famous work is Guernica, right? Well, Guernica has its own interesting pieces, but it also fits with the main theme and the main style of Picasso's work. By ditching the titles and emphasizing the skills, you can better enjoy the journey, and you could also expand your employment options. Because if your skill is in, for example, writing, then you can write in one place, you can write in another. You're writing. That's basically the skill. Now, if you agree with this analogy, let me know in the comments why do you agree with it, and if you don't, let me know in the comments why you don't agree with it. Tip number 4 is create networks that have real meaningful connections. So one thing that people have a common misconception about is that when you do a career change or a job search, what you do is you go online, go onto Indeed or Glassdoor, and basically look up all the postings there and throw resumes at them, and hopefully one will stick, right? And that's actually not the right way to approach work. Studies have shown that 72 to 85% of the jobs are usually found through word of mouth, through referrals, through internal resume databases, and they never actually hit the online platforms. So basically, if your way of having a career change is only through the online application process, what you're doing is you're competing with 100% of the competition pool for 25% of the jobs on the best case scenario. Instead, by leveraging your network or creating a network, making these kind of connections and actually having real conversations are much more likely to land you a job. So if you think about it from the hiring side's point of view, you always want to hire someone who you know. People need to know you before they're willing to hire you. And that's basically what networks are all about. Telling the world what you want to do, whether it's through LinkedIn or whether it's through Facebook or Twitter or reaching out to people, that's going to make a huge difference. And it's really an essential step to making a career change. Tip number 5 is maybe you really don't even need a career change at all. And when I say that, it's because in my line of work, I often see people who are in a job which is kind of like a dead-end job. And when I say that, I mean structurally there's really no next step to advance. So for example, if you're a specialist and you want to become, keep doing the specialist thing without being a manager and taking on managerial responsibilities, because that means you're no longer dealing with the product itself or the project itself, you're dealing with people. Not everyone wants to do that. So in that case, it may signal, sure, it's time to change. But sometimes it may be like a toxic boss, or the work culture is bad, or the company's going through a bad time. And in that case, do you really need a career change? Sometimes it might be about acquiring the soft skills so that you know how to deal with that boss, or you know how to deal with colleagues. Maybe they're not toxic at all. Maybe you're just a nice person and you need to learn how to say no, right? And if that's the case, check out this video up here where I talk about what are some ways to say no and how to stop being bullied if you're agreeable. It's always easier to change a job to you rather than change you to a job. So if you are in a career that is not a good fit for you in terms of a personality wise, then yeah, sure, definitely change, right? So for example, if you're in a sales job and you're an introvert, it's kind of hard, right? But if it's about changing a job to you and adding certain functions that make you satisfied, that's much more doable, right? So sometimes it might be a matter of just communicating with your boss, communicating with another department where you can take on different responsibilities. So for example, if you're in marketing and you want to switch to HR, maybe reaching out to HR and saying, hey, you got any side projects that I can pick up so that you can pick up these skills and learn the functional roles. Then you can kind of be a hybrid. That's also possible as well. And companies are always looking to retain talent. And if retaining the talent but changing your function is what it takes for them to keep you, some companies may very well be willing to do that. So essentially, we really need to distinguish, is it the job? Is it the career? Is it the function? Is it the industry? These are the things that we really need to sort out when doing a career change. And by sorting that out, you gain the clarity which helps overcome that anxiety. The sixth and final tip is a mindset trick. Now, remember at the beginning of this video, I said that anxiety is really your body struggling with the fight or flight syndrome, and it's all stored in the amygdala. What that means is that if you want to override the fear and the anxiety, what you can do is simply tap into a mind trick. And what that means is you close your eyes and you visualize. You visualize that, hey, why am I afraid? Maybe you're afraid because of success, right? And what that means is, hey, that's an opportunity. And if it's an opportunity, what you can do is simply tell your brain, since it's literally in the same region of fear, that this is an opportunity to fight for. What that does is it shifts the mindset so that, hey, this is an opportunity. I can fight for this. I can actually do this. Basically, you will be motivated instead. And so this is a very simple trick which gives you clarity, and it also tackles what we call a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you believe that this is going to work and you can do this and you actually take action, then the chances of it actually happening becomes much greater, because number one, you're actually doing it, you're actually giving it a shot, and number two, by telling yourself this is real, the chances of it becoming real becomes much higher. And as a result, you gain much more motivation in pursuing this career change. Now, I know these tips are super useful, and if you're ready to take the leap, I would suggest you to go and download in the link below my PDF on how to find your ideal career. Also, you can take a personality test, also in the links below, and find out what your personality is like using a psychometrically valid Big 5 personality test and see whether the current job is a good fit for you. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you join the Facebook group Career Soft Skills so that you can be with like-minded individuals who are interested in advancing their careers. As always, if you like the video, leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And also click the like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know when I come up with future videos. And if you like this video, also share it with your family and friends so they too can benefit from it.